So thank you for the response from both the divisions. Now, I think in the last lecture, we started discussion about the topic that is activity diagram. I think we have started and we have finished with that particular topic, activity diagram, right? Okay. So can anyone tell me what were the components of the activity diagram? You can type down the message in the message box if you want, or you can unmute your mic and you can speak. What were the components of the activity diagram? Let me know the components of the activity diagram, jaldi se. No one? याद ही नहीं. Component of the activity diagram, guys. Do we have an actor in the activity diagram? Do we have an actor from where it starts? Okay, so I'm getting the answers from the opposite division. Initial state, final state, action, transition, swim lanes, decision, fork. Okay, so from this side, Shruti has answered initial state, final state, action, transition. Okay, before going ahead, आप लोगों का तो result display हुआ. Your result has been displayed yesterday, right? Yes. Okay, I hope all of you are having good marks, good scores. अच्छे scores है या नहीं है? सर वो नहीं पता अच्छे स्कोर है या नहीं है. Okay, what about the marks that you have received in the object-oriented programming? Milan, I think you are having the third rank in the university, right? Milan, how many are there in the top 10? Top 10 में कितने हैं? Milan is there, then I think हाँ मिलन है टॉप 10 में. और कौन है टॉप 10 में दूसरे दूसरे लोग? आई थिंक मुझे नाम नहीं याद आ रहा. दि, दिव्येश दिव्येश है. हाँ यस, दिव्येश is also there. Anybody else is there in the top 10? How many are there in the top 50? Can I know your names? Just the name and the number. Name and the number. Okay, Raj Kapadia is at 24. Good. Shloka, what's your rank? Shloka is at 33. Good. Karan is at 15. Good. Tausif is at 37. Good. Who else? Nisarg is at 36. Himanshu is at 28. Kheer is at 26. Mansi is at 22. Good. What about other people? There are 49 in one division and 42 in one division. So, three of them. And from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, more people might be there. They haven't joined. Because जहाँ तक मैंने देखा है that out of top 50, majority above 15 to 18 students are there. हर साल होता ही है 20 students or 15 students are there from Somnalit. Okay, great. C++ के मार्क्स से satisfied हो? Satisfied with the marks of C++ के कम मार्क्स दिए? Anybody wants to say something? Divyesh, can you just mute yourself? Oh, Tausif has given me the whole list. That's great, Tausif. A good job. Tausif has given me the whole list. That is great. I will save this list, Tausif. Thank you so much. So a big clap for these people. Okay, मुझे आवाज सुनाई तो नहीं देगा, but a big clap for these people who have ranked in the university from rank 3, 5, okay, 14, 15. So to Milan, Divyesh, Raj, Karan, Humera, Rushta, Mansi, Raj Kapadia, Heer, Himanshu, Shloka, Nisar, Tausif, Mansi, Shruti, and Nishita. Okay, how many are there? Total number of students कितने हुए? 15 हुए. I typed out in Excel. So that's a good going. That's really a good going. Okay, so we have 16 students. We have 16 students and their corresponding rank. Okay, that is really good. Okay, 16. Okay. किसी को ऐसे क्वेश्चंस तो नहीं है ना कि सर इंटरनल में कम मार्क्स मिले थे? इंटरनल में कम मार्क्स मिले ना, इसलिए रैंक नहीं आया. इंटरनल में ज्यादा मार्क्स दिए होते तो रैंक आ जाता. ओके, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. फाइन. So your semester 3, you have done with semester 3. Now we are going ahead with semester 4. Okay, so let me just share the screen. I think in the last lecture, so congratulations again to all the people who have scored well, and congratulations to other people also who have passed this particular exam. जहाँ तक मुझे पता है, the Somlala's result will be more than 95%. Only few people who have not written anything would have failed. Okay, more than that. Okay, so shuru karte hain. Let us get back to the track, and we were learning about the state chart diagrams, state transition diagrams. Okay, तो जैसा semester 3 में score हुआ है, उससे अच्छा semester 4 में score हो. Okay, such kind of efforts we need to make. Right now, if we talk about the state chart diagram, try to understand. State chart diagram is more or less the represents the particular states. Now, what do you mean by a state? Try to understand whatever activities that we have shown over here. Those set of activities can be grouped together, or any particular activity can be zoomed into it more, and you can say that उसके अंदर क्या हो रहा है. Okay, that is considered to be a state. Or many of the times, many parallel activities are going ahead. So there are parallel states. Okay. So again, state transition diagrams are more or less like representing the business process. State transition diagrams are representing the more or less business process. And again, you need, if possible, you can draw one state diagram. If possible, you can draw more state diagrams. But the core business idea should be represented. Okay. So try to understand, you guys are going to be the future software engineers. And software engineers are the people who are making the software and trying to solve the problems of the people who are doing manual work, or who are doing work with the existing software, but they are facing the problems. So we are the people who need to identify the business process. If you are not able to identify the business process, then things will be tough. So the first thing what you need to do is that you need to identify the business process. Once that is identified, you can go ahead with these diagrams and implementation will be easy. Okay, so let us go ahead with the introduction to the state chart diagram. So basically, if we talk about the state chart diagram, it describes the states of an object. What do you mean by the state of an object? State of an object means what will be the status of an object at a particular time. Okay, it is in the beginning state, it is in the ending state, it is in the transition state. What are the values of it? Everything. Okay, so again, if you talk about the state chart diagram, it describes the dynamic behavior of the object and which is truly based on the response from the events. State में, I mean, कोई भी functionality में, in any functionality you consider, there will be multiple events, different categories of events. Now, those events has to be represented in terms of some state chart diagram. So, state chart diagram basically focuses on the complex behavior of a class, of an actor, or of a subsystem, or of a component. So, whatever complex behavior that is being implemented by any particular module or a component or any particular system actors, okay, those behaviors are known as the, for those behaviors, we need to prepare the state chart diagram. Okay, so basically, it shows the dynamic behavior. होगा क्या? Okay, so we will directly jump onto the elements of the state chart diagram. बनाना easy है, मगर logically समझना थोड़ा tough है. Okay, so what are the elements of the state chart diagram and their notations? Fine. The first state is same. The first state is the initial state. Okay, which was same as that of the activity diagram. Another important thing is that that state is also known as pseudo state. Okay, हम लोग pseudo code बोलते हैं. Okay, this is a pseudo state. Okay, which is basically a solid circle. ये तो हमने पहले भी देखा था. Second important thing is the final state. Right? The final state is going to be the bullseye. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Unmute your mic and speak up. Oh, is that the case? Wait. Yes, you are correct. The screen is not visible. आप लोगों के मैसेजेस के नोटिफिकेशंस मुझे ऊपर दिखते नहीं है पीछे. सो वन स्क्रीन प्रेजेंटिंग बैकएंड पे चला जाए तो पॉपअप नहीं आते. इवन नोटिफिकेशन के मैसेजेस भी नहीं आ रहे हैं. Okay, I generally I get a message whenever I get the notification of any particular message. Not an issue, not an issue. I hope now the screen is in the visible mode. सबको स्क्रीन दिख रहा है? Yes. Okay, तो हमने यहाँ से शुरू किया था. That a state chart diagram represents the object of the system. क्या दिखाता है? What does it show? It shows the dynamic behavior of the system. Apart from that, not only the dynamic behavior, but also it shows the complex behavior of the system. Okay, so complex behavior of the system में क्या behavior, कौन सा behavior बताएंगे? Behavior of the class, behavior of the actor, behavior of the subsystem, or behavior of the module, that is component. Okay, then we have discussed about the elements of the state chart diagram. The first element already discussed, solid circle, initial state, and that is also known as a pseudocode or a pseudo state, not a pseudocode, sorry, pseudo state. Second, final state is a bullseye. ये भी हम लोगों ने देखा है. Now, the final state is another pseudo state. Try to understand. इसको भी pseudo state बोलते हैं. And this is also called a pseudo state. So initial and final both are called pseudo state. Okay, because this particular state has no variables describing it further. Okay, initial state तो beginning होता है, ending state तो ending होता है. There are no other things. So initial state and final state both are known as pseudo state. Second important thing is that what is state? What is the state itself? If it is not a pseudo state, if it is not a final state, what is the state itself? Okay, so the first option, the first thing that a state represents, state is basically the visible mode of behavior of an object. okay, that persist for a period of time. Okay, so set of activities, I would say set of activities happening in a particular period of time, that are known as states. So activities, see, it's written over here, activities can run within a particular state. Okay, we can transform from one state to another. Okay, the same way we have kept guard conditions over there, here also we can go ahead and keep the guard conditions, that is possible. Okay, so what are the different types of state that are available over here? What are the different types of states? First, it can be a simple state. Okay, what do you mean by a simple state? A simple state is that state which contains no substates. उसके दूसरे substates होते ही नहीं हैं. Okay, for an example, if you remember, we had the fork condition and the join condition. So one activity we had divided into sub-activities, fork, and those were the for parallel activities. Now those parallel activities can have different states. Uska state diagram banega. So think about it. We are developing a system and we are trying to explain the system using every possible combination. Without the help of the code, we are trying to articulate the whole system. That's all about the software engineering activities. Okay. So some examples of a simple state are given over here. So that example is a simple state diagram for a door object. Now try to understand. आप लोग पूछोगे कि सर door में ऐसा क्या? Now try to understand if you talk about home automations, okay, or plenty of the automation which is happening around. So home automation की अगर बात करें तो have you seen automatic doors? You seen automatic doors, everyone? Yes or no? ऑटोमेटिक डोर्स में प्रॉब्लम क्या है बताइए आपके हिसाब से. ऑटोमेटिक डोर्स में प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है? सर कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता. जब हम जाते हैं तब खुल जाता है, जब हम चले जाते हैं तब बंद हो जाता है. हैव यू सीन एनी काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम? जिस दिन प्रॉब्लम दिखने लगा ना, यू आर डन विद द प्रॉब्लम, यू आर डन विथ योर लाइफ. आई मीन प्रॉब्लम देखना चाहिए और उसका सोल्यूशन भी सोचना चाहिए, एंड देन यू आर डन विथ योर लाइफ. उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है बताइए एनीवन? ऑटोमेटिक डोर्स मॉल्स वगैरह में काफी बार होता है. मैनी ऑफ द टाइम वी हैव ऑटोमेटिक डोर्स इन द ऑफिस. Because of this COVID and all that, many of the automations are there in the automatic tap also. Okay, पहले काफी कम जगह पे होता था sensor based taps. The moment we keep the hand, automatically the water will start. We can wash our hands, and the moment we remove our hands, the water will stop. Okay, guys, अगर automatic doors की बात करें ना, तो what is happening in general, majority number of times अगर आपने देखा हो तो, so the moment we go ahead, the door opens. Okay, but try to understand, the door fully opens. The door should not fully open. The door should only open to the amount of which is the size of that particular person. एनर्जी बचेगा, आप ही सोचो. ओके, घर पे कोई आता है, ओके, जनरली अगर छोटा बच्चा आता है तो हम डोर थोड़ा छोटा सा खोलते हैं. वी डोंट ओपन द होल डोर एंड से कम इन. ओके, सो थिंक अबाउट इट. तो सी, वर्ल्ड इज मूविंग टुवर्ड्स एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी. एनर्जी यूटिलाइजेशन कम होना चाहिए, ग्रीन कंप्यूटिंग. ओके, सो व्हाई डोंट वी स्टार्ट विद द डोर्स इटसेल्फ? ऑटोमेशन इफ यू आर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग इन डोर्स, okay, then it should only open to the amount of which is the size of that particular person. The size of the particular person is, let's say, is hardly about half a meter. तो 0.75 meter open होना चाहिए, बाकी नहीं open होना चाहिए. Okay, so energy utilization. Try to understand. So here they are talking about some automatic doors. Now the door will have three states. Either it will be open or it will be closed. When it is closed, it can be either locked. When it is locked, it can be unlocked. But after unlocking, it is possible the door is closed. And when the door is closed, you can open it. Okay, so here you can see the starting state is there, but there is no ending state. Okay, but if you want, you can keep the ending state over here. The starting state is open and the ending state should be locked. Possible. Okay, simple state. Second, super and composite state. Okay, ये composite आपने कहाँ पे पढ़ा? Where you have learned composite? Are you listening the word for the first time? Composite. DBMS. Composite keys. In DBMS, we have learned composite keys. One or more primary keys. Where we're taken in combination, that becomes a composite key. Okay, so here we have the composite states. A state which contains substate is basically known as the composite states. Okay, here the behavior is going to be complex, modeling will be complex, and different levels of abstractions can be implemented. Higher levels of abstractions can be implemented. Okay, so we will have the internal states, or we will have the substates, we will have the super state. Super state means the main state, super class हमने पढ़ा था. So we will be having the super state or the composite state. Okay, we can also draw the nested state. State के अंदर state draw कर सकते हैं. Okay, we can draw the nested state. थोड़ी देर में देखेंगे. We'll be talking about this nested states. Can we have a state inside a state? Yes, it is possible. Those are known as internal states or substates. And also, whenever we have states inside a state, okay, we can have transitions among them. Okay, so basically a composite state, if you want to define a composite state in simpler terms, then a composite state will be, or a super state will be composed of one or more sequential means series, or concurrent means parallel substates, is known as a concurrent composite state. Okay, so composite state can be one sequential or concurrent substates. It's not a concurrent composite or sequential composite states. दो टाइप के हो सकते हैं. Now, what do you mean by a concurrent composite state? सबसे पहले concurrent composite state का example ले लेते हैं. Look over here. A concurrent composite state is useful when a given object sets of independent behaviors. Okay. Now try to understand, this is a super state. This is basically a one super state. Inside that super state, I have 4 other states. But this particular state is different. This particular state is different. Independent of each other, but having parallel activity. Until and unless these two S1 and S2 and this S1 and S2 gets finished, the whole super state cannot end. Getting an idea? So this state, this super state will also have a beginning over here and will also have an ending over here. Possible. Okay. So एक example दिया है यहाँ पे देखो concurrent composite state का. So vehicle service मुझे करना है. Okay, so vehicle service, if I talk about an automatic vehicle service, okay, so it can be possible 2 things can be done in parallel. The first is washing. Now washing is an independent state and filling the gas tank. So it arrives over here. Arrival is the basic initial state. Ending state is the departure. You can show a circle over here, the bullseye. You can show the same bullseye over here. Okay, and these two are the concurrent composite state. Filling gas tank and washing the windshield are composite states, but they are concurrent. Okay, that is concurrent composite state. What about sequential composite states? What about the sequential composite states? Now, sequential composite states, they have taken an example of something like this. We have a state, and there is again some sequence that is required to be followed. You go from S1 to S2, S2 to S3, S3 to S2, and that's it. Okay. For an example, look over here. This is a best example of a sequential composite state. If we talk about the the gear system of the cars. ये पुराने कार का gear system है. Okay, it says that you need to go ahead. One state is neutral. Neutral में से आप reverse जा सकते हो. Reverse में से again you can go back to neutral. So reverse and neutral are the independent state. Okay, reverse and neutral are the independent state. But when the car is moving forward, the gear position can either be in first. Again, if you upshift this, it can go to second, it can go to third, it can go to fourth. Again, if you downshift this, you can come to third, you can come to second, you can come to first. Okay, पहले के ज़माने में cars में ऐसे होते थे. अब तो direct shifting होता है. Direct shifting is possible. Okay, so these are sequential composite state. It is being inside a particular state. A substate तो है ही. Okay, but all the activities are in sequence, serially. There, all the activities were parallelly, concurrent, sequential, one by one. Okay, and lastly, we have a term known as substate. A state inside a state is known as a substate. Here, first, second, third, fourth, all are the examples of the substates. Okay, so elements of the state chart diagram is first initial state, final state, and then we shifted to state. If we talk about the state, we have simple state. Then we have talked about the concurrent state, composite state. In the composite state, we have concurrent composite state, sequential composite state. Okay, then we have the transitions. Now, what do you mean by a transition? Transition purely means that flowing of the data from one state to another. Relationship between two states are basically shown by the transition. Transition is basically denoted by an arrow symbol. इसे transition बोलते हैं. Okay. Now, this is known as self transition, dialing a number. Self transition. Okay, loop जैसा concept. The transition, for an example, a transition where a message is received but not result in is a change. Okay, so constantly you are inserting certain things, constantly you are following certain things, so you can specify the looping mechanism over here. Apart from that, try to understand there are some other terms like triggerless transitions. Okay, the transition that occur between the state completed and the activity are called triggerless transitions. Okay, for that we don't need to require any kind of guard conditions because we know that thing is going to happen. But if an event has to occur, there should be some action. So एक state से दूसरे state में जाने के लिए, okay, you can specify the guard condition. But if you feel that it is understood, then you can go ahead with the triggerless transaction. Triggerless transaction in the sense that guard conditions is not necessary to specify. हम लोग कुछ state chart diagram देखेंगे in which the guard condition is not required to specify. Okay. So what are the guidelines for the state chart diagram? The guidelines for the state chart diagram, yes. The diagram may be either one shot life cycle type or continuous loop type. You can prepare at one shot or you can prepare multiple ones. Okay. Then object from which one shot life cycle state chart diagram is drawn has fixed line. Okay, we need to have a start, we need to have an end, that is must. Third, objects for which continuous state chart diagram is drawn do not have an end state. Now हम लोग ने यहाँ पे देखा, अगर ऐसा कोई looping है, कहाँ पे क्या, ऐसा कोई looping है, so it may be possible that you don't have an end state. Possible. Then a separate state chart diagram must be drawn for each object, showing various of the objects throughout the life cycle with the context of the system. Okay, for every object you can prepare a state chart diagram, but try to understand it should be the higher level business objectives. उसी का बनाना है. Okay, now state chart diagram is drawn for only those classes are having interesting or complex internal behavior. अभी मैंने बोला higher level. So state chart उसी का बनाना है having the interesting or complex behavior जिसका. Okay, हर एक का state chart नहीं बनाने बैठने का. Then the class whose behavior does not differ from the state chart diagram for those classes is trivial and not much use. सीधी सी बात है. It is not reflecting any kind of behavior of your actual business process, तो उसका state chart diagram बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay. Another important thing is that yes, you need to finalize while drawing the state chart diagram. Find out the initial state and the final state. This is must. Fix what is the initial state and what will be the final state. They have given some example. You can read it by your own. 8. After identifying all the states, then you need to look for the transitions. Okay. In the beginning, you need to fix the states, and then only you need to go ahead with the transition from one state to another. Initial state is always at the top left corner. Initial state is always at the top left corner, and final state is always in the bottom right corner. So we always go the transition from left to right. State name should be simple and written in present tense. Past tense में नहीं लिखेंगे. Okay, and lastly, if a state is very complex, it is better to exhibit it in substates. अगर complex है state, तो you can go ahead with the concurrent state, sequential concurrent state, composite states. Okay, उसके terms में you can use it and you can expand it. Right. टेक्स्ट बुक में जो स्टेट चार्ट डायग्राम दिए हैं दे आर वेरी इजी एंड स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. उतना कुछ कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी उन्होंने बताया ही नहीं. बट यस, यू कैन गो अहेड विद द केस स्टडीज. और मैंने आपको बोला है द बुक दिस ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड एनालिसिस एंड डिजाइन का जो बुक है ब्लू कलर का, इन दैट यू हैव प्लेंटी ऑफ द केस स्टडीज एट द बैक हेड. ओके, 3 या 4 केस स्टडीज है. ऑल दोस केस स्टडीज मस्ट बी डन. ओके, वो केस स्टडीज आपको करना ही है. Once you are doing those case studies, तभी पता चलेगा कि how things are working. Okay, and आज के बाद वो case studies आपको करना है because state chart diagram एक बार खत्म हो गया तो then UML is done. Then we'll be simply jumping on to unit number 1. Okay, so let me go ahead with the problem statement. What is the problem statement over here? The problem statement is like you are having a company, let's say ABC private company, that wants to start a advertisement campaign. Okay, advertisement करना है, advertisement का campaign बनाना है. Okay, the advertisement will be prepared, and after the approval of the advertisement will be scheduled for the publication. So advertisement prepare karna hai. After that you need to send for the approval. So I'm getting some keywords prepared. If once prepared, I need to take the approval for the advertisement. Okay, once it is approved, then the advertisement will be scheduled for the publication. So basic job that's been done over here is publication. So preparing, taking the approval, publishing it. Okay, and the advertisement will be published after the scheduling is done. Scheduling हो जाता है. The scheduling is done. So prepared, approval, scheduling, and finally it is published. So this is the process. Okay. So step by step इन्होंने किया, आपको step by step करने की जरूरत नहीं है. What is the initial process? We know advertisement campaign process is starting. Final is the end state. They are having certain intermediate step: preparation, scheduling, approval, and publishing. Okay, so ऐसा कुछ इन्होंने state का diagram बनाया है. So once you have prepared, you need to take the approval. It may be possible that it is not approved. Now, this was not written in that paragraph. कि अगर अप्रूव नहीं है तो क्या होगा. Okay, so सीधी सी बात है. It's very simple to understand. If it is not being approved, then it will go ahead and again prepare. So preparation is a state, approval is a state, scheduling is a state. Okay, in scheduling also it may be possible that there are no schedules available. Okay, so you can show a cyclic process over here. Scheduling में आप यहाँ पे cyclic process बता सकते हो. It is trying to schedule for plenty days. And once it is finalized, you can go ahead for publishing, and that's the end of the advertisement campaign. Okay, now try to understand. यहाँ पे there were no states which can be further divided into substates. Okay, now ऐसा कर सकते हैं. For an example, approval. Approval is a big term. There are, think about it. It's a big publishing company. In big publishing company, there are many people who are responsible for taking the approvals. आपको ऐसा लगता है कि ये रिपोर्टर्स जो भी लेकर पब्लिशिंग कंपनी को देते हैं और वो न्यूज़पेपर, कल के न्यूज़पेपर को वो छाप देते हैं. ओके, देयर इज अ न्यूज़ एडिटर. ओके, देयर आर पीपल हु विल अप्रूव दैट एडिटिंग, एंड आफ्टर दैट ओनली इट विल बी देयर ऑन द मीडिया. न्यूज़पेपर रैंडमली कोई भी कुछ भी नहीं छाप सकता. दैट इज अगेंस्ट आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. ओके, अगर कुछ छापते हैं दैट यू शुड बी हैविंग अ प्रूफ ऑफ इट. Right? So similarly, here the process of approval we can separate it. I feel that personally this approval can be expanded. Approval from the editor, approval from the main head. So two things can be done in parallel. उन दोनों का approval हो गया, then and then only it should go ahead for scheduling of the publication. That is possible. So approval can be expanded. पता चल रहा है गाइस आपको? एवरीवन, किसी ने कुछ रिस्पांस नहीं दिया? You can type down yes in the text box. Yes, yes. Okay. पता चलना चाहिए. Yes, good, good. Okay, so we can now it depends upon you that what you want to finalize. Okay, it all depends upon you कि आपको कौन सा पर्टिकुलर स्टेट है उसको एक्सपैंड करना है सब स्टेट में. Right? So that was all about the state chart diagram. आप लोग एक काम कर सकते हो. You can go ahead with the topics like drawing the state chart diagram for an ATM machine, drawing the state chart diagram for a DVD player. DVD player का बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. It's better to go ahead with drawing the state chart diagram for vending machine. Okay, vending machine का कर सकते हो. Waiting, inserting the item, choosing the item, get changes and so on. Okay, any vending machine. यहाँ पे vending machine का मतलब क्या है? Many of the times we have the vending machines for certain products. आपको product select करना है, amount डालना है, and the product will be out. ओके, तो पास्ट में ये कोको कोला एंड ड्रिंक्स के वेंडिंग मशीन्स हुआ करते थे, एंड स्टिल दे आर देयर एट प्लेंटी प्लेसेस. वी डू हैव, पर्टिकुलरली इफ यू टॉक अबाउट रेलवे स्टेशंस. ओके, मेट्रो की अगर बात करें तो मेट्रो स्टेशंस में अहमदाबाद में वी डू हैव वेंडिंग मशीन्स फॉर द चेंज का इश्यू होता है. तो जिन्होंने मेट्रो में थोड़ा बहुत ट्रैवल किया है, अहमदाबाद उतना बना नहीं है अहमदाबाद में, बट आई हैव सीन दैट देयर इज अ स्मॉल सिस्टम जहां पे इफ यू आर हैविंग अ 100 रुपी नोट और 500 रुपी नोट, ओके, यू कैन हैव अ चेंज. आप इंसर्ट कर दो, इट विल गिव यू द चेंज. ओके, सो दैट्स अ गुड कांसेप्ट दैट पीपल हैव इम्प्लीमेंटेड. ओके, कामेश सर का लेक्चर नहीं आने वाला ऑनलाइन. कामेश सर लेक्चर नहीं देते? कामेश सर का कौन सा सब्जेक्ट है? तो .NET का अब तक सेशन ऑनलाइन शुरू हुआ तब तक कोई लेक्चर ही नहीं हुआ? ऐसा कैसे? लेट मी आस्क. ठीक है, लेट मी आस्क. आप लोगों के ऑनलाइन सेशंस तो कितने दिनों से शुरू हुए? 17 से ऑनलाइन शुरू हुआ ना आप लोगों का, कि उसके पहले से? ट्यूसडे यानी 11 से शुरू हुआ. यस, तो 11 से 20 तक अब तक एक भी कामेश सर का सेशन नहीं. ओके, let me have a word with Kamesh sir. We'll have a word with Kamesh. We can get back to you as soon as possible. Yes. Fine. So we'll end up the session over here and we'll meet tomorrow in the upcoming session. तब तक आप एक काम करना, मैंने मेरे एंड से तो फिनिश किया है. ओके आपको अगर आपके एंड से फिनिश करना हो तो अच्छा है. यूनिट नंबर 2 एंड यूनिट नंबर 3 वी हैव डन. ओके एक बार देख लो. इफ देयर आर सर्टेन क्वेश्चंस व्हिच आर पेंडिंग, लेट मी नो. Okay, from the next session onwards we'll be starting with unit number 1. Okay, till then keep learning. Okay.